Hello everybody, it's Starrapter here, welcome back for another episode of This Week in Star Wars Canon, where every week I break it all down for you guys, the comics, novels, the TV series. I like to talk about it, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any future episodes if you like this video. So let's get started with Star Wars issue number 43. This is part 6 of the Ashes of Jedha Arc, and before I get started with this, just a reminder that I do talk about the spoilers, so make sure if you plan on reading this that maybe you come back later and add this to your watch later list. So, this is the conclusion to this arc. We are on Jedha, we have Luke, Han, and Leia, and we have them working with the partisans, and the Empire has gone back there to mine more Kyber crystals, and they have deployed this Leviathan mining type machine that is humongous. So we have the rebels that are trying to destroy this thing. So we pick up right where the last issue basically left off. We have Luke, who is going against the commander in a duel. We have Leia, who encounters Queen Trios, and we have Han, who is actually leading a group of the rebels to try to take the bridge. So we have a lot of different things going on. What happens is Leia ends up recruiting basically Trios, who reveals that she wants to actually join the rebels. Then with Han, we have him doing a daring mission to get the Falcon to basically get everybody off of the Leviathan before it crashes into the crater. And we have Luke, who manages to use his wits to end up unexpectedly taking out the commander. So let's break it down. What things did I enjoy about this specific issue? Well, first off, as I mentioned, that whole Queen Trios turn of events, I didn't see that coming, honestly. So I love how Kieran Gillen brings this character, first off, from his other series he did for Star Wars, Darth Vader. She basically told Leia that she wants to join the Rebels because she was threatened by Darth Vader at one point that he would destroy her planet if she didn't listen to him. And now she has that one opportunity that she has one of the leaders of the rebellion there. And she says, look, I'm going to try to, act like I'm still part of the Empire, but I will actually give you guys my resources and you can do it with whatever. So Leia's like, great, we'll make more ships and whatnot. So that was really, really cool. Another thing I really enjoyed was seeing Han Solo take command. It's one of the first moments in Star Wars I think we actually see Han kind of turning the page. He was always out for himself, and now we see him actually changing a bit of his character. And even Leia's like, wow, I actually like him as the leader role. And getting more into Luke Skywalker, I really enjoyed that duel with the commander, only because it was interesting that this guy was actually smart enough to install like a lightsaber, basically something that can defeat a lightsaber, which is a flamethrower. I mean, we see Jango Fett using a flamethrower against Mace Windu, and that's really effective. I was like, why don't we ever have a lot of people with flamethrowers? And that is pretty much what the commander says. He makes a remark like, oh, they should have just equipped the clone troopers with flamethrowers and they could have killed all the Jedi. And basically Luke's like, oh, you are a monster. And he basically uses the electromagnetic pulse thing of a ship to fry his cybernetics, and that's how Luke defeats him. Unfortunately, he doesn't die. We see him later in there. He's going in the shuttle with Trios as they get out safely from the Leviathan. Something that I didn't enjoy, the first page, I flip it open and I literally make a groan because the artwork is, again, not great at all. And it just looks really wonky when you have Leia's face like plastered on the page and when it looks like it's from one of the movies and it's on a cartoon background. And even the character of Queen Trios looks really off. Her face looks like it's very, very photoshopped, I guess you could say, in a way. I'm not really sure. I guess more realistic approach with more of the cartoony background definitely stuck out to me. So overall, I want to talk about this Ashes of Jedha arc, and this is the first arc that we have a new writer. It's not Jason Aaron anymore. We have Kieran Gillen. So what did I think of this arc? I thought it was excellent. So we have all of our three big heroes getting really great arcs. We have Leia. She originally goes to get the partisans' help and some kind of help for the Rebel Alliance, and she comes away with the support of Queen Trio. So job successful by her. Then we have Han Solo and, the rogue on his own type of mercenary, and he's coming away with a lot of leadership experience, so that's really cool there. And Luke Skywalker, man, this was really, really a great arc for him, and I can't wait to see where he goes in the future, because with this one, he's all concerned about going to Jedha just to learn about the Jedi religion and all that kind of thing that was around the Force there, and he leaves with the knowledge that, look, I have to pay attention more to the rebellion at this point. I can't spend so much time you know, dwelling on the Force. There's another time for that, as we know. In the future, he has like 30 years to think about the Force. So I hope to see in the future that we have him more of a commander that we know he gets the title for in The Empire Strikes Back. I hope we get into like Rogue Squadron, because there's a couple references to Rogue One, so maybe that's how Luke decides to honor them. I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to roll, but I can't wait to hopefully see that in canon someday. So those are my thoughts on the entire arc of Ashes of Jedha. So that is all we had this week, but I wanted to spend a little bit more time on the announcement we had of D.B. Weiss and David Benioff actually becoming producers and writers on a new series of Star Wars films. And this for me is super exciting. When I got the announcement, I was pretty much letting out some squeals in the car, because man, oh man, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. That's the only other franchise that really comes close to my obsession with Star Wars, to be honest with you. And, you know, basically that's my favorite TV show, and Star Wars are my favorite movies. So you combine elements of Game of Thrones creators messing with Star Wars, and I can only think of good things. I mean, I think my speculation here, I'm going to get into speculation territory, is that we have these people that are responsible for adapting A Song of Ice and Fire written by George R. R. Martin. And they, to me, have done a really, really great job with it so far. And I think what they could possibly be doing, maybe Lucasfilm tapped them and said, hey, we want you to maybe try to adapt some Legends material of this Old Republic era, because we know that they are great, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, with portraying these massive battles and whatnot. So we know in the Old Republic there was a lot of Sith running around, a lot of Jedi running around. So my pipe dream is that these guys are developing a series of Old Republic films that are going to show us these huge epic battles, and I really can't wait. But then a caveat would be they haven't even announced a date or anything else about these films. They are so far in the future. To put it in perspective for you guys right now, the films that are on the slate for Star Wars, right? We have Solo: A Star Wars Story coming out in about 3.5 months. Then after that, in 2019, we have the conclusion to the sequel trilogy, Episode 9, and then after that, I don't even think we have an actual date for the Rian Johnson trilogy of films. So we got that, and then I'm guessing after these trilogies of Rian Johnson, or maybe spaced in between those, we're gonna have the D.B. Weiss and David Benioff Star Wars films. And a while back, we had this rumor of an Obi-Wan film maybe happening after Episode 9. So there are so many kind of Star Wars stories revolving around right now. It's easy to get excited, but I'm trying my best to kind of temper my expectations, because when things are planned out so far in advance, there's a chance that maybe some of these things can fall through, and I just don't want to be left there kind of just disappointed. So right now, I'm just being optimistic, but trying not to be too hyped for it. So that is everything this week in Star Wars canon. Next week, you guys can look forward to Darth Vader, number 11, Poe Dameron, number 24, and we are having our first issue of Thrawn number 1. I know I told you guys last week that we were getting it this week. I thought it was. I was mistaken. So yes, definitely next week we are getting that first issue of Thrawn. So next week's going to be a killer week for comics. So make sure you come back to the channel and check those out. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. How are you enjoying the Star Wars Ashes of Jedha arc? Are you digging it as much as me? What do you hope happens with this series in the future now that the Ashes of Jedha arc is over? And what are your feelings for the D.B. Weiss and David Benioff announcement? Are you really psyched that we're going to get some Game of Thrones creators mixing it up with Star Wars? Let's talk about it in that comment section below. Also, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I have plenty of other Star Wars content that I talk about on a weekly basis. I just finished up my playthrough of Star Wars Battlefront 2's missions. I have all 16 missions. Now, I don't know if that's the end of the actual single player game. It's to be decided, because there's going to be more DLC where that includes single player. But for now, you can catch up on everything that's out there in the game in the single player by checking out those videos. So that is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on anything else in the future. And have a good one. May the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.